This is CBC Here and Now.
And this will be interesting when my parents see this on the news. We made a ferry crossing quite some time ago for late July. So we're coming home, Mom and Dad.
The excitement builds
A summer of reunions is likely ahead.
as people here and away make plans for when the travel ban lifts.
Much of the weather, God. Much of the province saw a lot of sun today. Is it going to stick around? You're just going to have to wait to find out.
Well, the city says it's time to shut it off. Residents in Corner Brook are just using way too much water.
Let's try to keep consumption to the absolute minimum.
I'll explain what's going on. That's coming up.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
Hard act to follow. I'm Anthony Germain. We could expect to see a lot of families reuniting this summer. A travel ban has been placed now for nearly 15 months, stopping many people from visiting this province.
Yes, but now there is light at the end of the tunnel as vaccination rates increase and the government prepares to lift travel restrictions. As Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports, many who now live away are already booking their summer trips home.
If all goes to plan, this airport here in St. John's will get a lot busier in the coming weeks, and expect that traffic to be driven largely by expatriate Newfoundlanders and Labradorians who've been kept at a distance by the pandemic.
I look forward to seeing my parents at the bottom of those stairs at St. John's Airport and hugging them.
A lot has happened in Jillian Stoyles' life since the last time she visited St. John's, including an engagement. A big milestone that, because of the pandemic, she was unable to share with her family. But the Calgary resident hopes to make more memories like this very soon. She received the best possible news this week.
So yesterday morning, I was just on a conference call with a colleague in Montreal, and on the side, somebody was sending me an internal message that, "Hey, Jill, did you see the news? You can go home now." I was really excited. And the first thing I did after I got off my conference call was to go on to Air Canada's website and look at the price of flights.
Stoyles has never gone so long without visiting her home province, and it hasn't been easy.
Being away from my family so long and not getting my annual trip to go home and see them.
So that's a picture of all the kids with my parents for the last time we were all in Corner Brook. So I'm really excited to be able to take this picture again years later. So see you soon, Mom and Dad.
Sarah Williams, her husband, and their 2 teenage daughters have been hunkered down in Halifax, where pre-pandemic photos like these have become extra special. Adventures on Newfoundland's west coast before all the upheaval. Her parents are selling the family home, and now it looks like one final gathering in the homestead will occur in July. More quality time with the grandparents for these young ones.
You know, we were all getting a little nervous that if they sell it, in the next little while, that we wouldn't be able to get back home and have one last big hoopla on Marcel Avenue.
Many people are dusting off their suitcases, and after a year like no other, travel agents are once again in demand.
Well, just since yesterday, everybody's calling now, inquiring, booking, wanting to get things done right away.
And Barbie Hutton has already noticed a trend.
But most it's Newfoundlanders wanting to come home, so it's people that I know from away.
People like Jillian Stoyles. Home is calling, and by August, she hopes to answer that call.
The province to me just feels like home. It's like a warm blanket just waiting to hug me and make me feel welcome and accepted and loved and embraced.
Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
What an adorable person. All right, while Newfoundlanders and Labradorians abroad are booking tickets home, some business operators are tempering their expectations. They're still unsure about how the summer season is going to shake out. And for that story, let's head to Bonavista with Here and Now's Garrett Barry.
With whales, birds, and bergs, you can see why this town's been a hit.
The tourism, arts, culture, heritage sector for us at that time in 2019 was valued at $46 million. And our region is 8,200 people.
The highs have been high, money rolling, tourists flocking. But the lows have been, well...
We kind of thought that with so much unknown about the virus, etc., that we would try not to go too far backwards last year, the overhead being quite large to start up in the beginning. So we didn't open at all.
Yesterday, businesses got some clarity and an opening date, July 1st.
I felt kind of relieved. I'm not gonna lie. The last couple of weeks, I was really stressed out. Like, you know, I'm trying to push forward with my business, and with like, you try to, you know, keep your spending as less as possible, but it's kind of hard to do that.
The race is on to get ready.
Because we're doing reservations, you know, it's just really now the gardens are huge. The gardens really, we're planting 2 people kind of full time now, trying to get all the vegetables grown, willing them out of the ground.
But still, some questions remain, like what to expect. The mayor is not all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, I've heard it around the province from various operators. We're preparing for this year to be worse than last year.
Room bookings are down, even worse than last year.
Newfoundlanders that wanted to travel, a lot of them have traveled. They did their staycation last year.
And though Canadian visitors will be let in, he says we're late to the game.
I was getting July and August cancellations because visitors didn't want to wait any longer. They were making plans to, instead of going to Newfoundland, they were going to Saskatchewan.
And to win those customers back, he's calling for a big marketing push. Like this one that we recently spotted running in Ontario.
I mean, we are now a member of UNESCO. I still think only about half the population really knows.
Stagg says it shouldn't be that hard when you've got this on your side.
Newfoundland was on a lot of people's bucket list before we got shut off to the rest of Canada. We have a very unique culture here.
That's why she's getting ready for a boom. Unlike the mayor, she thinks the crowds will come roaring back. Garrett Berry, CBC News, Gander.
Now, just last month, an advisory council recommended reopening the province, and today the chair of that committee says she hopes an uptick in travel will motivate the airlines to bring back more flights. In the meantime, she says this is all a good start.
We have had so many clients who have wanted to travel here last year and understood and waited for us to open. I mean, they could have gone anywhere else in the world, but they felt as passionate about coming to Newfoundland and Labrador as we do about living here. I know it's going to be low volume travel for us this year, but it's the all important first step to get us back.
Well, now to the latest in new COVID-19 cases. There are 6 new cases in the province today, including some cases that have prompted officials to ask people in certain communities to get tested, even if they don't have symptoms. So let's start with 3 cases in the western region. One is connected to the ongoing cluster in the Stephenville area, and the other 2 are being investigated. As a result, a temporary testing site will open in St. George's tomorrow for checking for community spread. People who live there and in Barishaw Brook, Shallop Cove, Flat Bay, St. Teresa's, and Jernois are asked to get tested even if they don't have symptoms. As for the other 3 cases, 1 is in the eastern region and related to travel in Canada. 2 are in central and connected to the cluster there. There are still 90 active cases in the province, with 2 people in hospital.
All right, I'm going to be honest. I thought I'd make it at least through 1 sentence without screwing up, or my first sentence, that is, but that wasn't to be. Anyways, my name is Jeremy Eaton. I'm filling in for Ashley Brauweiler as she is taking some much-deserved time off. So obviously, what I was trying to say at the beginning, it was, for most of the province, it was a very sunny day. But is it going to stick around? Well, let's just see. There's a little bit of weather on the way. So there's going to be some rain coming in tomorrow on the southern part of the province. There's a possible thunder. Gosh, I'm going to get it. I'll get better. I promise I'll get better. Thunder showers in Labrador, and that sunshine that was around today, it is going to come back, but not right away. So we're just going to keep an eye on that, and I'm going to have lots more weather and lots more screw-ups, hopefully, as the evening continues and progresses. And I'll tell you what the temperatures were like today when I come back now in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Now off to some other news. Police are trying to piece together what happened in the hours leading up to the discovery of a body in the Waterford Valley area of St. John's. On Sunday evening at around 8:30, a man's body was found near a trail system in the West End. Police believe his death is suspicious. Now investigators are asking the community to share any dash cam footage taken that afternoon. Now, here is what they are looking for. Anyone who may have recorded the area of Waterford Bridge Road last Sunday, that's May the 30th, between 2 p.m. and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. More specifically, they are interested in the area between Cowan Avenue and Bay Bulls Road. Anyone with video footage or information should contact police or Crime Stoppers. This can also be done online anonymously. Now, this province has some of the weakest systems to keep police transparent and accountable. Now, that's according to First Voice, an Indigenous coalition that's focused on advancing truth and reconciliation. Today, on a special anniversary, the group announced its plan to create more police oversight. Here now's Katie Breen reports.
This was 2 years ago today, the culmination of the national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, the release of the final report. Today, First Voice marked the anniversary by announcing a new community-led working group on police oversight, the initial stages of something the coalition says most other provinces already have.
We look around to the rest of Canada and we see that there's a really big difference. So we're just trying to, in some ways, catch up.
The national report recommends more civilian-led police oversight boards. According to First Voice, many municipal police forces already report to them.
Right now there's a fair amount of distrust, particularly amongst racialized Indigenous communities, amongst women. So if we could, through that board, it might be a place to start to work on that. Police forces are supposed to be part of the community and build and work with community and not be this top-down approach that kind of fleeces and kind of terrorizes its community members. And that sounds like a harsh word, but I think that's a reality for certain segments of our population.
The RNC says it's confident in the civilian oversight that already exists, the Serious Incident Response Team and the Public Complaints Commission. Those teams investigate issues after the fact, but First Voice is looking for something more proactive. It says oversight boards in other provinces approve training guidelines and use of force policies and help set police priorities based on community consultation. The working group announced today is planning to meet with stakeholders and the public to create recommendations for this province. It plans to release its own report by the end of the year.
Our entire society is going to benefit from implementing these, So we hope that this is a day to bring that to mind.
Katie Breen, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, in national news, Ottawa has responded to the recommendations of the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls.
I know there are no investments that can bring back the lives lost or that can heal people's pain. More education is needed. The truth must be told, and all Canadians must stand with Indigenous peoples against injustice.
Well, today's plan is the work of Indigenous groups, advocates, and the families of victims and survivors, as well as provincial and federal governments. The plan includes government promises to spend more on Indigenous language, culture, as well as infrastructure, health, and policing. Ottawa says it will give communities more control over social services to ensure a culturally relevant approach to governance.
Well, in other news, the replacement for retiring Nalcor CEO Stan Marshall was named today. The woman moving into the job, Jennifer Williams, will stay on as president of Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro, and that's raising questions about the future of Nalcor. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
I feel good. I'm excited to take this on.
The recent budget gave a strong indication of what's to come for Nalcor. It said as the Muskrat Falls project nears completion, we will immediately begin reorganization of Nalcor to streamline, remove duplication, and save money. The new interim CEO of Nalcor, Jennifer Williams, says the cost-cutting begins with her.
Well, if you think, again, today, this is a job loss, right? With the CEO, me absorbing the CEO's role, in addition to this role, that's a job loss. And if there's anything at all that makes sense to do that soon, I think it's incumbent on us to do that.
Williams is taking one salary to do two jobs. She's single-handedly saving the province hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. Nalcor has almost 1,600 employees. Williams can't say how many there will be when the company is streamlined, but she underscored that the hard-working people at Hydro and Nalcor aren't getting the credit they deserve.
I've really tried these last few years to make sure that those people heard that from me, that they know I'm really proud to work with them. And when you have people that come in and continue to do that despite how it's perceived publicly, that's a lot. That's a lot for people to carry. So I'd really like to sort of change the conversation around that go forward. I am really proud to work here.
Williams' first priority is getting Muskrat Falls done. But Industry Minister Andrew Parsons says government is also looking at what happens after that. He confirmed there has been talk of dismantling Nalcor and collapsing some of it into Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro.
That's absolutely something that has been discussed, has been considered, but not a decision made at this point. But that absolutely is a conversation I've had.
Both Parsons and Williams say the Muskrat Falls hydroelectric project is on target to be commissioned in November. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the province's energy minister is responding tonight to reports of a possible big development in the offshore. The online oil industry magazine Upstream is reporting that Equinor's Beta Nord project off Newfoundland is now estimated to have 1 billion barrels of oil. That's triple the past estimates. The province signed a development agreement with Equinor 3 years ago, but things have been on hold in part because of the pandemic. Andrew Parsons was asked about the report at the legislature today.
A lot of conversation going on about it. I know Equinor has been holding their cards very close. Let's just say I hear the same news, that it's very positive sounding. I know Equinor is sort of turned inwards right now, looking internally as to what's their way forward in terms of all their different options. I'm just happy to know that we do have a pretty significant potential, it's a positive there. Whether, where it goes next will be guided by Equinor in conversations with us, and I'll be talking to them very soon.
Well, to the west coast now, Corner Brook is extra thirsty thanks to people running their taps and hoses for far too long, and the amount may shock you. Residents are going through 20 million litres a day, and city staff say it's time to conserve, cut back, and shut off the tap. Here now's Colleen Connors has more.
Corner Brook residents are using way too much water, and the city is asking people to conserve.
So let's try to keep consumption to the absolute minimum.
Newfoundland and Labrador is one of the top provinces that uses more water per capita than the average Canadian. Corner Brook's usage is higher than the provincial average. The story starts here at the city's water treatment facility that sends this sludgy organic matter to the top, scrapes it off, and pushes clean water to 23,000 people and commercial spaces like the mill and the hospital. Before this, the city was just adding chlorine to the water from Corner Brook Lake and sending it through the taps. When the treatment plant first came online in 2015, it was treating 30 million litres a day. But after several years of fixing old pipes and finding all the leaks, the city got that down to 20. It still costs a lot of money to treat. The city budgets $3 million for water.
Our consumable costs are about $150 per million litres that we have to treat. Right now, we're treating about 20 million litres a day.
Yep, 20 million litres a day. Let's break that down. Picture an Olympic-sized swimming pool that holds 2.5 million litres of water. Corner Brook consumes 8 pools a day.
We're still fairly high, compare us to other municipalities around the province and Atlantic Canada. We're still using more than the average person.
On the East Coast, the city of Mount Pearl, with the same size population, 23,000, consumes 12.5 million litres a day. So why are people in Corner Brook using so much? Glenn Keeling chairs the Western Environment Centre, a non-for-profit group that speaks out on policy issues.
I think a lot of people are of the mindset here in Corner Brook that water is kind of an unlimited resource and it's not something that's in short supply. And so a lot of the residents don't seem very concerned about any conservation methods or the amount that we're using. And I think they might be shocked to find out exactly how much more we are using than the rest of the country and the rest of the province.
The city has some suggestions.
Let's try to keep the watering of lawns to a minimum. Let's do it at night. Let's keep a jug of water in the fridge instead of running your tap to get cold water. There's so many different, run your washer full of clothes rather than half loads. Try not to wash your car more than once a week. Try not to wash your driveway more than once a week. just try to use try to use less than you have used in the past, because every little bit helps.
But if you could measure water usage, you could manage it better. Any house built after 2014 is fitted with a water meter, and city staff monitor but don't charge for water consumption. Keeling says it's time to enforce metering.
It allows people the ability to really monitor their own consumption and to take action within their households to do something about that.
Burden says water metering is a political issue, not something he can enforce. For now, he's working on residents conserving this dry summer season. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
I was like, why is that dog back and forth the road? Oh, there's so much sin. You're so sweet.
Well, here are some lucky ducks. Thanks to an animal lover in paradise, the story of their rescue is next. Well, next we have a story that may make you smile. A mother duck and her 5 ducklings are safe and sound thanks to one observant animal lover in the town of Paradise. Nancy Woolridge is here to tell us the story. So Nancy, can you walk us through what happened?
Yes, of course. So my dog and I walk my son to school every morning. And yesterday morning, we were walking in the area on the way home, and I heard the duck, the mommy duck, before I saw her. And sure enough, as I neared, I saw her in distress, quacking and quacking, walking back and forth the road in busy traffic, and she was standing her ground. She wasn't going anywhere. So as I further assessed the situation, I noticed the drain, and then as I neared, I could hear the little peeping coming from the drain. So I poked down and saw one little yellow duckling.
What did you think when you saw the poor little duckling down there?
I was so sad, and in the video, I start crying probably immediately.
Are you okay? Oh, what a sin.
It just hit a soft spot, and I felt so bad for the mom, who clearly was trying to let someone know that her babies had fallen down the drain. I called the town of Paradise, who were quick to respond, and I also asked my husband to meet me there with a pole and a net, and soon enough, the 5 were scooped up. It was amazing. So the ducklings were fine. I mean, they were shivering, not sure how long they were down there, hopefully for not too long. But you could tell they were active and they were moving around. So the lady from the town then moved a little further down where the mama duck had gone and shuffled them gently into the grass. We then backed away because the mom was still quacking loudly and was nervous of us. And then when we crossed the street, the little ducklings followed her right along. It was like the sweetest moment, honestly.
How did you feel when you saw that?
Well, you can hear me crying still in the video. It was really emotional, but I was so happy that it was a good ending for that little family. And I was so thankful that I was there. Maybe the next person who rounded the corner would have done the same, but I think it was meant to be that I was there.
Well, Nancy Woolridge, I'm grateful that you were there as well to save those little ducklings. Thank you so much for telling us about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
This weather update is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. It's time to explore the Great Wide Open. Plan your trip at yourbackyardbeckons.ca.
Wasn't that sweet?
Certainly was. Maybe she could rescue my weather performance tonight. Who's to say?
You don't need rescuing.
Oh,
you have all
man.
your ducks in a row. You'll do fine.
I do not.
This is Jeremy's debut tonight on the weather, filling in for Ashley. So
I've wanted to do this for a long time, but for some reason they never let me do it. So I'll be filling in for Ashley today, tomorrow, and then all of next week.
yeah, we're all cheering you on.
Oh my
You
God,
can
I
do
hope
it.
so. I know my buddies are watching so they can make fun of me, but that's just how it goes, right? Just how she goes.
So how is the weather looking,
Well,
Jeremy?
you know, it was a sunny day today, so now I'm going to walk off screen so I can turn on the green screen. So stay tuned because this is going to get good. So here are today's highs, as you can see there on the screen, and I'll come towards them and point out some of them for you. The green screen is a lot harder than it looks, just so you know. So we're looking 24 degrees in St. John's today. Very hot day, and you know that Bannerman Park was full of hammocks and kids playing spike ball, so that's good to see. It was 22 in Bonavista, 24 in Twillingate, 26 degrees in Badger. Now our colleague Terry Roberts probably wishes he was home in Badger tonight for those 26 degrees. 14 in Burgeo, 14 in Port aux Basques, another 26 in Corner Brook. Now a fun fact that I learned recently was today, about an hour ago, is that the average temperature for Corner Brook at this time of year is 16 degrees, so that's much hotter. Now watch as I switch to the other side. Labrador City, you're sitting at 23 degrees. There's 26 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Beautiful night there in Happy Valley Goose Bay. 23 in Cartwright. And so those are the highs today. So a beautiful day for much of the province. Now, what does it look like currently? Almost kind of the same. There's some subtle differences. It's dropped a few degrees there in Cape Race and St. John's. Badger still sitting at 26 degrees, which is nice to see. And a little bit cooler there. St. Anthony still sitting at 20, Lassie 22, but you can read that as well as I can. Now 15 degrees is dropped in Labrador City, 26 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and 7 degrees in Nain. But the sun is not going to stick around. So this is what's called the future tracker. So as you can read, future tracker. So if you see this green up here, this is rain. So tonight at about 6 p.m., Anthony's laughing and it's making me laugh. So this rain is going to come in over Labrador City, Wabash area and into Happy Valley Goose Bay this evening. And what that's going to bring is possible thunder showers. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that. But let's just take a quick look down here and you can see all this, that green, that yellow is really bad. So you're going to get a lot of rain, most likely down and around here as it moves across the southern part of the province. All right, now that's what the future tracker says. So the current temperatures right now, we're sitting at 11 degrees, for tonight, we're 11 degrees. Just take a breath, Jeremy. 11 degrees in St. John's, 13 in Gander, 10 in St. Anthony, and there's a little bit of rain there, 13 in Grand Falls, Windsor, and Port aux Basques is 8 with a little bit of rain as well. And if we move up to the Big Land there, as I was talking about, you can see the icons there with a little bit of thunder. It's a risk of a thunderstorm, thunder shower up there in Labrador City, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Churchill Falls, but it will only bring about 5 millimeters of rain, so it's not much to worry about, and then it'll be done by the time tomorrow morning rolls around. So the future tracker is back because this is important. Do you see how that green mass is moving across the southern part of the province? That is going to bring a lot of rain in starting early tomorrow morning at about 5 a.m., and it's going to bring rain for much of the day all across the southern part and then across the Avalon Peninsula as well. As you can see, move up there in the afternoon past St. John's, and then it'll move out of the way by the time the evening comes. So that's going to bring rain, and we're going to get a few millimeters. 5 in St. John's, and as I said earlier, you're looking in, so Ferryland, Placentia, and Marystown, which I'm standing in front of, that's going to be about 10 to 15 millimeters along that southern part of the province there. And again, standing right in front of Harbour Brenton, but you're going to get about 10 to 15 millimeters as well. Port aux Basques and Burgeo are looking about 10 millimeters, and possibly about 5 millimeters there up in Corner Brook and Stephenville. And not much rain, 5 millimeters in Cartwright, and not really much rain precipitation. Makovic could get about between 2 to 4 centimeters. 2 to 4 centimeters, man, get it together. 2 to 4 millimeters of rain. So I made it through with only a few mistakes. I'm still trying to figure out the green screen, but bear with me. So that's what's happened today, and that's what's going to happen tonight and tomorrow, but I'll have your long-range forecast coming up after a couple of breaks.
Well, there is relief in the tourism sector now that the province has announced its reopening plan on July 1st. That was the suggestion in a recently released tourism report. And joining me now is the chair of that advisory group, Jill Curran. So how are you feeling now that the wheels are in motion for a reopening?
Oh, I'm so happy. It means the world to us as a sector, but I, like all Newfoundland and Labradorians, are feeling very, very happy today about, reuniting with family and friends. So I'm feeling very, very happy and very relieved today for sure.
So this reopening won't be a cure-all for the tourism sector this year, but now that the plan is set, what are your expectations for tourism this summer?
Well, we have, very realistic expectations. None of us, will have a banner year. We fully know that. But the opening and the opening by July 1st really provides a huge, huge, lifeline, I guess is the word for our sector, because it gets us back to work. It gets us, seeing our visitors come. I mean, we have had so many clients who have wanted to travel here last year and understood and waited for us to open. I mean, they could have gone anywhere else in the world, but they felt as passionate about coming to Newfoundland and Labrador as we do about living here.
Now, we have heard from some tourism operators who say, it's too late. It's too late for me. I've had people cancel on me already. We were too slow in announcing this. We should have put this in motion sooner. What do you make of that? Do you think that we did miss an opportunity?
Well, I mean, we as a sector, recognize that, it was a safe opening plan that both our residents wanted and our travelers wanted. So, we were led by the guidance of the science that provided by our public health officials and by our government. And, our current vaccination rates are at such a level that allows for travel to resume and for businesses to scale up and be operational this summer. So, of course, we would have liked to have, been open earlier, but we are very, very glad that this is the plan.
And there are still some challenges ahead. The report that you put out certainly highlighted about air access being a problem. The province has had routes eliminated during the pandemic. So even if people want to come, do you think that the airlines have the capacity right now to accommodate that demand?
Well, the airlines have certainly been watching for this announcement that came yesterday as well. And of course, they're, as part of our sector, have seen their numbers, greatly decrease this past year. So I think they want to, they want to be able to meet customer demand. So we feel now that this all important first step of announcing that we are open, we'll see people, book with confidence. And I think the airlines will respond when they see that demand increase. So I think we do have a long way to go to rebuild our air access network to the province. But I think yesterday is a very, very important step that sees our demand increase. And then with demand, certainly we'll see the business case for more routes reinstated and hopefully more flights reinstated as well.
There's the issue of capacity, but now there's also an issue of cost. I've already heard from people who want to come home this summer. They've looked up flights, but the cost of the flight, it's too expensive to justify coming home. Do you think that the province has a role to play in this?
Well, the recent budget announcement had earmarked funding for air access as a priority for this government, and we are fully supportive of that as a sector. We have been long lobbying for greater air access to us as a destination. So I think on a go-forward basis, there is going to be new relationships forged between government and the airlines to how best meet the needs of the traveling consumer.
Well, hopefully everything stays on track and we reopen on July 1st as planned. Jill Curran, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, 60% of eligible Canadians have had their first vaccine, which means many are already anticipating their second shot. And according to one expert, getting that second jab is crucial.
The first dose is only about 30% protective, but that second dose bumps you up to that 80 to 90% protection. So it's really crucial to have the second dose, and for Canadians to remember that even though you're way better than you were with no vaccine at all, there is still chances of infection, some chances of transmission as well, and not as protected against variants if you haven't had a second dose.
Now, the doctor also says a second shot provides better protection against acquiring a severe case of COVID-19, one that could lead to death. And a second shot also provides longer-lasting protection from the virus and its many variants. Now, for many Canadians, the motive to get vaccinated is personal. Maybe it's tied to your family, your community, health and safety. But in parts of the United States, more material motivators have come into play. Chris Reyes explains.
The first winner, Abigail Buginski from Silverton. Congratulations!
From that same lottery, 8th grader Joseph Costello took home a full college scholarship, all thanks to their vaccine shots. Almost 3 million Ohio residents signed up to get vaccinated after hearing they could win big.
It's for a great cause because we're getting a lot more people vaccinated because of this lottery.
In New York, a similar lottery.
Vaccine Scratch. You get a vaccination and you get a lottery ticket for the $5 million mega multiplier New York State Lottery.
Eugene Ray traveled from the Bronx to Manhattan just for those tickets.
The lottery ticket convinced you to get a shot.
That's right,
Why is that?
because I can always use extra money.
In the United States, more than half of the population has had at least one vaccine dose, but that number is starting to plateau, and so governments and businesses are offering enticements. From a year of free flights from United Airlines
Here he goes, LeBron!
to basketball tickets, or at this Times Square clinic, free donuts.
Here at the American Museum of Natural History, the freebie up for grabs, tickets, and a cool experience.
You get 4 people to come in for free at the museum. Get vaccinated right under the whale. Pretty dope. The whale got a big Band-Aid on it. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's nice.
I was against the mandatory testing.
For this New York nurse, it's all a bit much. She's choosing not to get the vaccine, and no prize will convince her.
I think it's ridiculous if you have to bribe someone to get a vaccine. That's not a good sign. Johnson & Johnson.
For these tourists from Colombia, no prize needed. They're just happy to get the shot.
So did you come here just to get the vaccine? Yeah, to New York, yeah.
The true test of the incentives may come on the 4th of July, the White House's deadline for 70% of U.S. adults to have at least one dose. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Well, next we have the latest in our series For the Love of Music.
And we're looking at how Shania Twain prompted a kid from rural Indonesia to develop a passion for country music and later a home in St. John's.
My name is Zainova. I was born in a small village called Semban in Bangka Island, Indonesia. I grew up in the small village with no electricity, no radio, no music at all, and suddenly love country music. I trust myself and that cute bartender. Why don't they check everything inside the bar? Damn, I hate them all. When I was in junior high school, when electricity started to come and the music mostly from big city come to our village with a band, traditional music. And then when I was in senior high school, my friend introduced me Shania Twain. Whose bed have your boots been under? And whose heart did you steal, I wonder? Shania Twain is to me, it's always beautiful. And I start to read the lyric, even though not really, you know, English is is my third language, so I have to learn how to pronounce like Shania Twain. And so I read her lyric there, and so memorize them. And that's how I start to fall in love with this music. I didn't know that's country. What I heard sound like cowboy music, but later on, when I was in Islamic University in Yogyakarta, I discovered a country radio station. The announcer mentioned Shania Twain, and this type of music is country. Oh, this is country music. So I worked really hard that day. I want to be an announcer in that radio station because I want to learn more about this music. Not only Shania Twain, but many Western country songs. Take a couple of years to learn country music, and I start a band. And play some country and a bit rock because many Indonesians, they don't know country music. I've been working in radio station for 14 years in Indonesia, and one day I met my partner. So we start to explore opportunity in Canada. I found connection right away to Newfoundland. Music scene, you know, country music and folk music is part of people's life here. Meanwhile, I'm new, right? New in the scene. And then I met someone like Daryl Power from the Great Big Sea and suddenly play with me. They help me. They make me confident. Don't mess up with Indonesian Bayman. This is smut trout. Because I like fishing as well. There's a lot of fish here, and I enjoy it, and I love it. I said to my partner, let's stay here. I love this land. So here I am.
Jeremy is back with a look at the long range.
Yes, long range forecast. But before we get into that, what did you do this morning? Did you get a chance to get out into the sun? I don't know why I did that. That was so stupid. Sorry about that. That was dumb. That didn't work.
I did get out into the sunshine, not so much this afternoon, but early this morning. Took the dogs for a very early morning walk, and what a day, like right from the start, right from the crack of dawn, it was beautiful.
Because I was out, I got on my bike about 7:30, I guess, this morning, even only a little bit of wind. So when you're riding your bike in this province and you have to go up a lot of hills, there's nothing more discouraging than going up over the hills and then the wind sort of pushes you back, makes you really want to get out. But it wasn't like that this morning. There was a lot of sun, a little bit of wind, not a lot of people out. And I know I took a drive around lunchtime, and a lot of people at the park. And I live around Bannerman Park, which is why I made fun of it or talked about it earlier. So there's a lot of people in the park sunbathing and stuff. So it was an unseasonably warm day. But is it going to stick around? No. That's the short answer, no. So we're looking right here at the future tracker as I try to get my bearings here. And you can see, just going to press that button. So you see Friday night that rain's going to move off. There's a little bit going to stick around the island, but as you can see, it's going to be cloudy for most of the day. But then as you can see, it sort of clears off on the island. But if we look up at Labrador, there's another system of rain precipitation moving in over Labrador City and towards Happy Valley Goose Bay over on Saturday, and that'll continue into Sunday. But if we look ahead on Saturday, so a lot of the island is going to see sun on Saturday. As you can see, St. John's will probably hit about 20. Grand Falls winds are a bit of cloud cover, about 27 degrees. And then if we move over, up along the Straits and into St. Anthony, you'll see sun as well. But it will be a little bit of cloud cover because that system is moving out. But it's not the same. Oh, sorry, I went one ahead. Labrador, but now in Labrador, it's going to be raining quite a bit as I find my bearings here. Labrador City and Happy Valley Goose Bay, going to see a bit of rain, and Cartwright and Nain, a little bit of cloud cover, but the sun will come out. But that's going to change on Sunday. It's like almost going to like a switching places sort of thing. So future tracker's back. So you can see now this is Saturday, I guess Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. You can see the rain will move into St. John's. It's moved off of Labrador. And then, so that means if we look, as I said, everything was going to switch places. So, St. John's, it's going to be rainy on most parts of the province. Most of the island is going to see a lot of rain, which is unfortunate. Because I guess when you have one good day, you're like, every day is going to be like this, isn't it, Jeremy? And I was like, no, it's not. I got lucky on the first day. Might never happen again, fingers crossed. But as I said, so Saturday, island's going to see sun, maybe. And then the big land this way is going to see the sun on Sunday, which is nice. So the long range, so this is Sunday now into Monday. As you can see, there will be a few systems moving in. So there should be expected to be a little bit of rain into Tuesday night, Monday into Tuesday as well. And then that'll slowly move off Tuesday evening, and everything will look good. Now, if we take a quick look at our 5-day forecast, I think all that people who are watching care about is the sunshine. But look at those temperatures. You're looking at 20, 24 on Tuesday, but there's sun there in St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. And then if we take a quick look here at Central, you're going to see, again, a few sun icons. Just trying to figure out where I can stand. There we go, a few sun icons. But look at that, 27 degrees on Saturday. That's going to be a nice day. Then we're going to move into western Newfoundland. Again, a bit of cloud cover, but still remaining high temperatures, which is good. And then now let's take a quick look at eastern Labrador. Sorry, I'm going to walk out the other way. Take a quick look at eastern Labrador, and you're going to have a bit of sun there on Sunday, but a lot of rain kicking in. And for western Labrador, again, a little bit of sun. I'm trying to walk and I talk at the same time, and I haven't figured that part out yet. So as you can see, western Labrador, a bit of sun there, but 16, 24 on Monday, so it's all looking good. Now, this is the weather photo of the day, and this was sent to us. I picked this before I knew that you'd done the duckling story. So this is some pretty ducklings there on Kenny's Pond here in St. John's that was sent in by Lisa Lowe. If you want to send in a picture, you know what I just realized? I don't know what the email address is.
nlphotos@cbc.ca.
If you want to send in, oh, look there, it popped up on the screen. If you want to send in your picture of the day, we love getting them. That's nlphotos@cbc.ca. I now am signed up to that email so I can get them. So maybe we can put up a picture of you that you've taken the next 6 days. Oh my God. Oh, how do I get out of it? Gary, can you take me out? Take me out. Thanks. Woo! I'm worried that's going to happen.
I'm taking my picture of the day right now, which is your debut. That was pretty fantastic.
Oh my God, it's
You're
so
a brave
nerve-wracking.
man.
job.
You are a brave man, Jeremy.
Yes, you did a fantastic job.
They're just being nice to me because I got to stand here for the next 6 days.
No,
but shucks.
You took to it like a duck to water, like
Yes,
you've
you're
done it all your
natural.
entire life. It's fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I've been in this room with you doing the weather, with a guy named Ryan who did the weather for a little bit, and with Ashley doing the weather. And when you're in the room, you watch it, but you don't really pay attention to it. You're just like, it happens. So then when you got to do it, you're like, oh man, I got to know stuff. Like, so I spent a long time writing down rainfall amounts and learning a lot. And despite having driven all across and been all over this province, including most of Labrador, I still have a hard time finding out which place is which. The southern part of the.
He'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, tune in.
See you then.
Good night, everyone.